in 1994, Nani Palkhivala wrote this pretty incredible article that used a powerful metaphor to talk about our world. He said the Earth is like a patient, and its health is, well, it's declining. And you know what? Decades later, that diagnosis feels more urgent than ever. So in this explainer, we're going to go through this planetary checkup, take a look at the symptoms, figure out the cause, and talk about the prescription for our ailing planet. But first, let's start with a question. When you think of the most dangerous animal on Earth, what pops into your head? A great white shark? Maybe a lion? Some kind of poisonous snake? Well, the answer might be a little closer to home than you think. That's right, it's us. This incredibly clever exhibit in Zambia just hits you with this profound point. Humanity is the single biggest threat to the health of our planet. And you know, realizing that, well, that's the very first step towards finding a cure. Thankfully, our awareness is starting to change. We're actually in the middle of a huge shift in how we see our world and our role in it. A whole new consciousness is beginning to take hold. A huge catalyst for this has been the Green Movement. It kicked off nearly half a century ago, and since then, it's completely captured the world's imagination, really forcing us to rethink, well, everything. And this right here is the heart of that new consciousness. We're moving away from this old, kind of mechanical view of the Earth, seeing it as just a machine for us to plunder, and we're shifting towards a more holistic and ecological view, a view where our planet is a single, living, breathing organism, and we are an inseparable part of it. And don't underestimate just how massive this shift is. Palkhivala argues it's as big a deal as when Copernicus taught humanity that we weren't the center of the universe. Now we're learning we're not the masters of the planet, but partners within it. So, okay, if the Earth is a living organism, that means it has vital signs we can check. And unfortunately, when we take its pulse, the diagnosis is pretty concerning. Yeah, the conclusion is pretty hard to avoid. Our planet is sick. The very systems that keep it and us alive are under an incredible amount of strain. We're finally starting to realize we have an ethical duty to be good stewards, but first, we really have to get our heads around the problem. Now, a key part of the treatment plan is this concept that got really popular back in 1987, sustainable development. The idea is simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It basically says, yes, we can progress, but not at the expense of the future. We can't just strip the world of the resources our kids and grandkids are going to need to survive. To really understand this illness, we need to look at the specific symptoms. The author, Lester R. Brown, pointed out 4 foundational biological systems. These are basically the pillars of our global economy, and all of them are showing major signs of distress. So here they are: fisheries, forests, grasslands, and croplands. These 4 systems do way more than just provide our food. They supply almost all the raw materials for industry, pretty much everything except for minerals and petroleum-based synthetics. They are, quite literally, the bedrock of our existence. And here is the absolute crucial point. Our demands on these systems are way bigger than their ability to regenerate. Fisheries are collapsing, forests are vanishing, grasslands are turning into barren deserts, and our croplands are deteriorating. Simply put, we are taking much more than the Earth can give back. Let's just look at some numbers to get a sense of the scale here. Take forests alone. We are losing 40 to 50 million acres of tropical forest every single year. I mean, that's an area larger than many countries, just gone. And if that yearly number is hard to wrap your head around, check this out. This is the truly terrifying speed of the crisis. Forget yearly numbers. We are losing our forests at a rate of 1.5 acres every single second. By the time I finish this sentence, another 5 or 6 acres will have completely vanished. This question, which was posed decades ago by the Brandt Commission, it just cuts right to the heart of it all. It's a question about our legacy. What kind of world are we actually leaving behind for those who come after us? So, what's driving all of this immense pressure on the planet's systems? What is the underlying cause of this whole illness? Well, the article points to one of the biggest factors distorting our future: human population growth. Just look at this timeline. It took all of human history, we're talking more than 1 million years, to reach the first billion people around the year 1800. Then it took only 100 years to add the second billion. And then, in the 20th century, the population just exploded. And the pace is just relentless. At the time this article was written, the world's population was increasing by 1 million people every 4 days. More people means more demand for food, for water, for resources, putting more and more strain on those four foundational systems we just talked about. And this really frames the challenge in some stark terms. See, development is actually the best contraceptive. As people's incomes rise, as education and health improve, family sizes naturally come down. But you can't have development if population growth keeps spiraling out of control. So the choice is pretty clear. Either we manage our numbers, or we condemn millions to live in perpetual poverty. So we have a clear diagnosis, we can see the symptoms, and we've identified the root cause. So what's the prescription? Well, it's not some simple pill. It's a fundamental shift in our entire mindset. The prescription is an era of responsibility. It means we have to fully, and I mean fully, embrace that holistic, ecological view we mentioned earlier. We have to start acting like responsible trustees of the planet, with a duty of care not just to each other, but to the Earth itself, and to every generation that will follow us. You know, Margaret Thatcher put it perfectly with this idea of a full repairing lease. We don't own the planet. We're just tenants here for a very short time, and we have an absolute obligation to maintain the property, to repair the damage we've done before we hand over the keys to the next tenants. And that brings us to this final, really profound thought from Lester Brown. This single idea, if you really think about it, it changes everything. You treat something you've borrowed with so much more care than something you think you own. So the real question this leaves us with is this: what will be the condition of this planet when we finally return it to its rightful owners?